Am I the asshole for going home after my in-laws excluded me from dinner at a restaurant? I, female 26, went on a family trip with my in-laws 2 weeks ago. Mother-in-law always thought that I am a bit ignorant and backwards, and that's just because I come from a lower class family compared to hers, and I have no etiquette. After we arrived at the hotel, they arranged to visit a fancy restaurant for dinner. My husband avoided telling me, and I learned it last minute after he had already gotten dressed. I asked where he was going, and he said he and his family were going out to eat, but I wasn't invited because his mom assumed that since I wouldn't be familiar with the food and how to eat it there at the restaurant, then it's better for me to stay in and eat at the hotel. I didn't argue, I just let him go. Then I packed and took the first flight home. He freaked out and called many times. And when he found out that I went home, he blew up and called me ridiculous and irrational to do this. Even said I acted in an ungrateful manner and embarrassed him in front of his family after he literally begged to have me go on the trip. We argued and he started giving me the silent treatment after he came home. Moreover, his family are indirectly criticizing me on Facebook about what I did. Did I overreact? Edit, he didn't even mention what type of food they ordered. Edit number 2, the family didn't plan on having me come along, but my husband, like he said, begged them to invite me. This isn't just with me. My brother-in-law's girlfriend wasn't invited as well. Edit 3, they paid for my expenses, so I didn't want to act like I'm being needy / or something. I think this is justified.
Yeah, I do too.
Am I the asshole for wanting to divorce my husband because he wants a son? I, 27 female, have been with my husband, 29 male, for 5 years, married for 3 of those years. Our marriage was perfect and we were so happy. It felt like our entire family life was perfect. Church on Sunday, loving husband, beautiful home, all of it. A few months into our marriage, I became pregnant and my husband and I were overjoyed, and so was the rest of our family. My husband was especially happy after finding out our baby was a boy, and he always told me he wanted at least one son. I even started to attempt to repair my relationship with my mother so our son could have a relationship with his grandparents. I had originally cut off most contact with my mother due to how she treated my brother when he married his husband. Though my brother said he was all right with my decision to try to get her back in my life since he still has love for her and my baby was her first grandchild. However, our son ended up stillborn and it broke me. No. I fell into a depression and even after one point considered taking my life. But my husband was there for me during all of it and we got through the grief. Our marriage felt stronger than ever and life slowly started feeling beautiful again, even if it no longer felt perfect. About 5 months ago, I found out that I'm pregnant again, and then found out soon after that we're having triplets. My husband and I were over the moon, and he was the most doting and loving husband. Since we'd always said we wanted 2 to 3 children, we agreed we wouldn't try for any more children after this. Because of our family's excitement for the triplets, we decided to throw a baby shower and gender reveal party. We trusted my brother with the genders of the triplets, and he bought some confetti cannons with the colored streamers inside. The baby shower went wonderfully with my parents, in-laws, my brother and his husband and their daughter, and tons of friends and extended family. It was like a dream come true, and I was so excited for the gender reveal. I don't care what the gender of our babies was, I just wanted healthy little babies. But my husband was clearly excited for potentially 3 sons. When the time came, my husband and my brother all shot the confetti, and all 3 shot out pink confetti. I was so excited, and so was my brother, but my husband screamed at the top of his lungs and hit the table in front of us, hitting it so hard that it actually broke.
Oh my God.
He screamed to me that I was supposed to give him at least 1 son because I killed his first one.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
That's when I burst into tears.
That's literally crazy.
I had been so broken up about our son's stillbirth, and a part of me had felt it was my fault. And now, here my husband was, the love of my life, telling me that it was. My brother immediately stepped in and tried to get my husband to calm down, but my husband shoved my brother, so my brother instead pulled me inside, where I cried in the living room while my husband's mother tried to calm him down. I could hear him screaming outside about how 3 daughters is too many, how he doesn't want 4 kids, but he also wants a son. Ever since that moment, my husband has hardly talked to me. He's been sleeping in the guest room, and when we do interact, he's clearly upset and mad and tries to argue with me. I tried to talk to him about it and asked how he'll be with our 3 daughters, but he spat at me and told me he'll provide them shelter and food, but he isn't interested in daughters and doesn't plan to have a close relationship with them.
So
What the
wait, hold on. He spat as in like said those words.
Like
better
probably
spat the words. If he spit in her face, divorce him. That's enough for divorce.
If he's like
If he actually
spit in her face, dude,
Oh my.
I want to murk this man.
that sealed the deal that I want to divorce him, and I
Yep.
cried myself to sleep last night.
Yep.
Earlier today, I confided in my mother and mother-in-law about all of this, but they told me I can't divorce my husband just because he wants a son. I don't want my daughters to grow up in an unloving household where their parents constantly argue and their father doesn't love them. The moment my husband said I killed our son, I felt as though I had lost all love I had for him in an instant.
That's
And I
crazy.
don't want my daughters to be in that kind of household. However, both my mom and mother-in-law say it's just natural for men to want sons, and that at least he isn't saying he'll mistreat them. They treated this as an absolute fact.
At least.
As an
What is-
absolute
This is
fact.
pissing me off.
And acted as though I was a silly little girl who didn't know anything. I felt incredibly small and stupid. I don't know what to do. My mother-in-law and mother make me feel like maybe I'm overreacting to my husband's behavior, but my brother says this is not normal, as he and his husband are both men who absolutely love their daughter. I'm also not sure what I'll do with myself if I divorce my husband. I don't work. I'm not sure how I'll be able to find a job that can support me and 3 babies all on my own, and how I'll make time for all of them when I have to work. I feel so lost and hopeless. I'm torn on what to do because I worry divorce will be too brash of a decision and that maybe my mother-in-law and my mom are right. Am I the asshole? What should I do here? So, update. I didn't expect to have an update so soon, but after reading everyone's comments, I decided to take action immediately and went to my brother's house. We talked for hours through the night and came up with a plan. I'm going to divorce my husband.
Oh, okay.
He's
Now we
shown the
cooking with
kind of
gas.
He's shown the kind of man he is, and I don't want to live or raise daughters in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
I'm going to move in with my brother and brother-in-law during all of this. He and his husband have a nice large house where I can have my own room and a nursery for the triplets. I originally worried that perhaps myself and 3 babies would be overwhelming or a burden to him and my brother-in-law, but they assured me they would love to have us here. I knew everything would be okay when my brother offered to have a baby monitor put in their bedrooms so they could help me if more than one triplet woke up during the night. My brother-in-law has a nice high-paying job and my brother works from home, so I will have a stable environment and my brother will help with his nieces. My
That's so
own
nice.
niece is excited for us to live with her. The current plan is I live with my brother and brother-in-law for a while, and once my babies are old enough where I feel comfortable putting them in daycare, which my brother-in-law has offered to pay for, then I can try and find a job on my own where I can save up money and eventually move into a nice place of my own with my daughters.
Whoa.
I'm so thankful to my brother and brother-in-law. They truly feel like angels. My brother and I are going to go no contact with my mother. My brother and I have discussed her behavior with us growing up, how she treated him when he came out and also got married, and how she treated me these past few days. We decided this was the best course of action as we've given her many chances in our lives to become more stable and kind, but she always refused them. And we want our daughters to grow up in a loving family. When I knew my husband had left for church this morning, my brother-in-law and I went to my house and got all my important things such as documents, clothes, and things that are special to me, as well as all the baby's things. My brother-in-law's mother watched my niece while we did all of this. She's a kind woman and has offered to be a grandmother to my own babies, which I happily accepted. I will admit that I cried. I cried a lot lately, but mostly happy tears. Because my brother and I didn't go to church, my ladies' Bible study group texted me and asked if we were all right and if we needed anything. I texted them back and told them the truth about what happened, and they were all horrified. They told me that they support me and are proud of me for taking action and are now even preparing a bake sale at church to help raise money for me and my babies.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
This is really turning out well for her.
Yeah.
Also, apparently, when my husband went out to lunch after church with his men's Bible group, one of the other members is husbands to one of my friends in Bible group, and when he found out what happened, he yelled at my husband so much that he cried.
Yes. Drag
Yeah.
him.
Drag him through the mud.
Yes.
I got a little bit of joy out of hearing about that, not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
My pastor even called me and asked if I'm okay, and he let me know that I'll always have people who support me at my church, which I'm grateful for. After my husband came home from church and saw that most of my stuff was gone, he blew up my phone, but my brother-in-law called him for me and said that he would pay for my husband to get therapy for his grief over our son, and also told him to leave me alone.
Money bags are.
I mean, Richie Rich. They just throwing all the coins around.
My husband has not tried to contact me since, and has not yet
He's garbage.
and has yet to give my brother-in-law an answer for his therapy offer. All in all, I'm so grateful for my brother and brother-in-law. I wouldn't be able to do any of this without them. I'm hopeful for the future, and while this isn't the kind of future I'd imagine myself for my babies, this is definitely the best one I can currently give them. They say it takes a village, and my babies will definitely have a village full of love and support. Thank you and bless you to everyone who left comments supporting me. I'm grateful for all of them. I'm glad I could give you a speedy and very happy update. Quick backstory. After graduating high school, my son moved 3 states away for college. At 19, he married a girl he met. I tried convincing him to wait because I personally felt he was too immature. They both dropped out and moved back home to his hometown. At 20, they had their first child, a beautiful little girl. 60 months later, my daughter-in-law gave birth to their second child, a little boy. After the first baby, my wife and I noticed our daughter-in-law wasn't happy. We both thought it was postpartum depression related. Just after the second one arrived, my son and his wife separated. She would bring the kids over for a visit. It was then that she began unloading on us. I know there's 2 sides to every story, but considering I know my son, I believed her. I sat my son down numerous times to speak with him regarding his marriage. He refused to take responsibility, blamed her for everything, even when I directly pointed out when he was the sole problem. They got into counseling. For a year, things were okay on the surface. Our daughter-in-law filed for divorce, and my son 3 days later was on Facebook announcing his new girlfriend. A month later, they were engaged. My son has forced his then wife to become a permanent stay-at-home mom at the birth of their first child. She, of course, has no other family or friends here. She knew no one aside from us. She has nowhere to go with 2 small children. Unbeknownst to our son, my wife and I helped her financially and got her an apartment. Before the divorce was finalized, we received a wedding invitation. I made it clear to my son I would not be attending and they would not have my blessing. His mother told him she would see to it that I would attend. I stayed consistent in my decision. I also asked him not to bring his fiancée around our house out of respect for the mother of his children. The wedding happened on February 11th. The bachelor happens on February 10th.
Wow, that's
That was
product
good.
merging. That's marketing.
The night before, my wife gave me the final push. I did not attend. Our daughter also did not attend for the same reasons. My wife picked up our grandkids, got them dressed, and attended the wedding. My daughter and I decided to spend the evening with his ex. I couldn't imagine her sitting alone while her kids attended their father's wedding. She was taken aback that I didn't end up attending his wedding. We took her out to distract her mind. I just wanted her to know she'll always be considered family to us. My daughter also made a joke they can drop the in-law status and just be sisters now. She was very tearfully grateful. I realized just how badly she needed our support, and specifically on that night. The next morning, my son called to tell how much of a horrible father I am for not attending his wedding. A few days later, he caught wind that I spent the evening with his ex. He said that was the ultimate form of betrayal, and further, myself and his sister would have to earn a relationship with him on his terms only. ETA. First, I'd like to sincerely thank each and every one of you for your support and encouragement and all the awards. I know without a doubt I did the right thing. I even feel differently now. His mom should not have attended either. His mom went and she tried to convince him to go. I forgot about that. But we can't go back and undo that. So my son saw the post. I had sent my daughter the link yesterday so she could read the comments. This morning she texted me at work, "Dad, you went viral." LOL. But anyways, he sent screenshots of the post and all the comments to his mom. He also told her, "He's dead to me now." Time will tell if he means that. I'm sure he'll see this update. For that reason, I'm positively certain the second he needs another cash loan, I won't be dead anymore.
Yeah.
His mom told him, "Your children have to be our number one priority. They're not just some disposable items you can leave behind when one chapter of your life closes." Maybe one day he'll understand this.
I'm sleeping with a former student of mine and we are truly in love. It's been 10 years since I taught her, but my friends tell me it's still weird. So 10 years ago I was teaching a 6th grade English class, and like most teachers, I had a favorite. Her name was Kaylee and she was an adorable and incredibly mature girl. She was a very bright student, and I remember thinking to myself that when she grows older whoever she ends up with is going to be a lucky man. I think it was clear to everyone that she was my favorite, as I would pick her to answer questions the most, spent the most time helping her with assignments and so on. However, she was probably the only non-delinquent in that class, and I truly have no idea how she ended up in this class, or even at school in general. My fondest memory of teaching her is when she stayed in for lunch because she needed help with a math assignment I specifically gave to her. She was so ahead of the rest of the class I would give her middle school math to keep her occupied. At the end of the lunch when I helped her out, I blew an air kiss at her as she was leaving and she did the same thing back. I know it sounds creepy on paper, but it was honestly nothing more than appreciation for her as a student. I also want to add that there was nothing I ever did that would be considered creepy or inappropriate. I'm not weird. I remember being quite sad at the beginning of next year as Kaylee had transferred schools and was now in middle school. I didn't hear from her until about a year ago, when we reconnected through Reddit. I told an innocent story from my classroom on an Ask Reddit post, and it involved an incident with a fellow student from a class. She clearly saw it and sent me a DM, asking if I was Mr. S after I replied, asking how she knew. She told me that she was Kaylee. It was surreal. It was by sheer chance that we reconnected, but I'm so glad that we did. We quickly exchanged emails and started talking that way. Reminiscing on old memories and catching up on life, as it had been around 9 years since I taught her and she was now 21 and in junior year of college. She was studying philosophy, and as someone who has read a great swath of philosophical literature, I discussed philosophy with her. We got into a Freud versus Jung debate through email. I honestly had no ill intentions at the start, but at one point I found myself asking if we could continue this debate over coffee sometime. She replied yes enthusiastically. When we met up for coffee, I was in awe at just how mature she had become. She was now a fully fledged woman, 21 years of age and very beautiful, with the brains to match. We got to catching up, and it honestly looked like we were a couple. By the end of our coffee date, I began to suspect that she found me attractive. Before we parted ways, I decided to shoot my shot with her. I'm a single man in his late 30s, and even though she was my previous student, now that she is well past legal age, I truly saw nothing wrong with it. I asked her if she would like to go for dinner with me sometime, and she said yes. The next week we met up for dinner, and long story short, she ended up back at mine and we had intimacy. We went for 3 rounds, and it was honestly the best intimacy of my life. Before I continue, there is something you must know, and that is I did not GROM her in any way, and there is no way I pressured her into this. Despite being in my late 30s, I exercise a lot, I'm in very good shape, take care of myself and have been told by many that I am conventionally very attractive. She slept with me on her own will, and there was no power dynamic and coercion involved. Anyway, back to the story. This intimate encounter of ours sparked an intimate relationship. We would see each other once a week or once every 2 weeks, and quickly seeing her became the highlight of my life. I started developing serious and intense feelings after sleeping with her a few times, and I confided this in her, and she said she felt the same. However, she said that we could not be in an official relationship until at the very least she is out of college. So that's where we are at right now. We are exclusive, we do not see other people, but we are not a couple either. She comes over to mine, or I come over to hers roughly once a week. We catch up, watch TV, maybe go out to dinner, and sleep together. She's amazing. But one problem I have is my friend group. I have confided in them about this relationship of mine, and they all seem to be very hesitant about it. They all argue that our age gap, as well as the fact I used to be her teacher, is extremely weird, and some of them have even cut me off because of my relationship with Kaylee. It upsets me a lot, as these are the same people I have supported through thick and thin, and the fact they're willing to turn their back on me really does hurt a lot. I invited 15 of my closest friends to my birthday party, but they didn't even reply to the invite. I feel so ashamed. I made a WhatsApp group and invited 15 of my closest friends to my birthday party. I planned a nice themed dinner. The theme was Italy/Dolce Vita, at a nice restaurant, with one live music act, a nice cake ordered from a bakery and fitting the theme, and decorations. I wrote a heartfelt text, how I want to celebrate getting older with my oldest and greatest friends, and I detailed everything that was planned for the evening in the invitation. And then, nothing. Nobody replied, nobody said a word, like thanks for the invite or looking forward or anything at all. After a few hours my boyfriend posted a party meme in the WhatsApp group and wrote how excited he was to get it started. Still nothing. After almost 2 days, I posted a gif of chirping grills and made a funny comment, still thinking, maybe people simply forgot to reply. After another day, I started texting people individually, if they would like to come, or if they are available that evening, and a few responded that they will let me know soon. Others didn't respond at all. After almost a week, not a single one of my friends posted in the group or have messaged me if they would like to come to my birthday party. After 0 invitation acceptances and after reaching out several times, I felt so ashamed. Like I was begging the people to want to celebrate me or to come. I started to cry and I felt so depressed. Ashamed and humiliated, I just deleted the WhatsApp group. Nobody has asked me about that either. My birthday is now just a week away. I called the restaurant and cancelled, I called the bakery and cancelled my order, and I returned the decorations I bought. Maybe I was the stupid one for organizing all those things beforehand, but I was just so sure that at least a handful of people would like to come, show up. I am just so sad. I have known most of my friends for at least 15 years. I was their bridesmaids, their child's godparent, their maid of honor. I was there at graduation ceremonies and birthday celebrations. And I am truly puzzled. Is it really such a burden to come to my dinner? A dinner, which I would have paid in full and which I tried to make into a beautiful evening/event for everyone. I am just so sad and ashamed that I wasn't even worth a reply message. My boyfriend is trying to cheer me up and he immediately got busy organizing a surprise birthday evening for me. He is wonderful and I am just so glad he and my parents care so much about me, otherwise I would just feel absolutely worthless.